Piave is a typical Italian cheese with protected designation of origin made in the northernmost part of the Veneto region. This area is tucked between Trentino Alto Adige and Friuli and is known around the world for its famous mountain peaks, a UNESCO World Heritage Site, the Dolomiti Mountains. Magical peaks where clear waters run in streams through the valleys and the wide green prairies and pastures. In this beautiful natural environment, with its historic mountain cheese-making traditions, Piave D.O.P. cheese is born. The cheese takes its name from the river that crosses through the territory where the milk used in its production is collected. From this land, Piave cheese gets its characteristic full-bodied flavor that intensifies as it ages, with a one-of-a-kind flavor that makes this cheese truly unique. The start of dairy farming in the Belluno area coincided with the end of intensive forestry practices, just as the Serenissima Repubblica di Venezia, once the dominant power in the territory, began its decline. It was the raising of cows that became the natural vocation of the Belluno Mountains. During the grave economic crisis in the latter 1800s, it was the only occupation that was an obstacle, the migration phenomenon that struck the area and consequentially emptied it of its population. In order to prevent a mass exodus, in 1872, in the Belluno Valley Canale d'Agordo, a local priest named Don Antonio della Lucca initiated a totally new form of management of the few resources available for raising dairy cows. Grouping the small farmers of the town together to work their dairies by turns in a single dairy house, reducing the costs for production and increasing profits. This was the birth of the very first social cooperative in Italy. This system soon spread through every small town in the Belluno Mountains, a determining factor that contributed to refining the art of cheesemaking, and the same rules are respected today in the production of typical cheeses. Cooperatives and dairy farms over the years also constituted an important factor in the maintenance and development of the territory. In fact, man's presence in the mountains guarantees the conservation of a natural balance through the application of traditional agricultural and grazing practices, on which the survival of the same environment depends. The most important element in the typicality of Piave cheese is represented by the use of only local milk collected from authorized dairy farms in the Belluno area, where the cows, mainly typical mountain races, feed on local vegetation rich with blooms and shoots, giving the milk its special organoleptic qualities. Piave cheesemaking starts with a milk heating phase, followed by addition of natural starters made from the natural bacterial flora present in mountain milk, and whey from previous cheesemaking. Rennet is then added to the mixture, a fundamental component for coagulating the casein and transforming the milk into cheese. In order to protect consumers from possible imitations, Piave cheese is marked on the entire crust of the form after pressing. It is then placed into a saline solution before going on to the aging phase. During the aging phase, the forms of cheese are set on fir wood tables in dedicated warehouses with controlled temperature and humidity levels, where they are periodically brushed and turned until they reach their peak maturation in relation to their specific types, from 20 days for Piave Fresco to 18 months for Piave Vecchio Riserva. The forms are then identified with a paper label so that consumers can recognize Piave cheese at the time of purchase. Whether fresh or aged, Piave cheese is a genuine product with high energetic value. It is easy to digest and a food with important nutritional elements that are indispensable at every age. In fact, consuming Piave cheese is a regular habit for many consumers that are looking for a healthy, balanced diet without giving up delicious traditional flavors. Today, Piave cheese represents an expression of genuine tradition built on flavor and authenticity.